this video log with me, Wayne, from swimmingcyclingrunning.com. Well, I was thinking of the next in the series of swimming from home videos that I'm planning to do, as I said in the last video. But I thought, well, hang on a minute. When I coach people in the pool, a question I often ask is, how did that feel? So someone will do something, I'll say, well, how did that feel? Because I'm interested in how something felt on the body. And it struck me that a lot of you in YouTube land who are swimmers might not actually know how the front crawl stroke should feel. And what I mean by that is the muscles that you use in front crawl at each stage of the pull. How do you know what muscles should be invoked, in other words used, and what muscles should be actually dormant? What muscles should be actually used for force, and what muscles should be used for stabilizing elements of your arm and your body? So I thought it'd be really useful for me to go through in some detail what you should be feeling in the various parts of the front crawl stroke, and we're going to do that today. Okay, if some of you may have noticed, we have a merchandise shelf below the videos now, so if you like our merchandise with the big Swim Cycle Run logo, you can actually get something from us. So what we're going to do throughout this video is look at a particular part of the stroke and what muscles should be invoked when you're in that particular part of the stroke. We're then going to go to the computer and actually show you on a diagram where those muscles are and exactly how they should be working. And then come back and go a little bit further. So hopefully in the whole thing we'll actually get a really good feel for what the muscle should feel like as you're going through the pull and the recovery. Now, as we start our stroke, as our arm comes into the water and extends, we want to get into that catch position, that beautiful catch position. Now, what you should be able to feel, and I'll do this from the front, into that catch position is the clavicular part of the pec muscle, the pectoral muscle. Yeah, you can actually feel that. As you do that, you can actually feel the pec suddenly tense up. And that's hugely important because the pectoral muscle and the latissimus dorsal, the lats down here, are the muscles that actually drive your arm back. Those are the main muscles you use at the front part of your stroke. You don't use many others. You shouldn't be using your neck muscles, your trapezius and other muscles. You shouldn't be using your deltoid too much. Yeah, it's all the pecs, and slowly but surely going down the pec as you come through, and the lats, as you pull through, you can feel the lats working. And those are the muscles that should be working. Let's have a look at where they are on the computer. So the first muscle you're actually going to feel is the clavicular section here of the pectoralis major, which is the pecs. The rest of the pec will come into play, but that'll be just slightly later. You should really feel that clavicular section muscle invoke really quickly. The next thing that's going to draw your arm back are the lats, the latissimus dorsi, which are these muscles here on the side of the body at the back. And those are the muscles, together with the pecs, that are going to draw your arm back from that forward position. Now, other muscles are working to stabilize and move the arm into its correct position. So we know we've got the pec moving and the lats, but to do that, we're using the bicep to flex the arm. So the bicep flexes and it keeps flexing all the way through the stroke. So you should be feeling the bicep. Another thing we're trying to do is we're trying to stabilize the forearm and the hand in that slightly cocked position. So you can feel this muscle, and you can see that in me actually working, yeah, and you feel the wrist flexor muscles all working at the same time to stabilize and flex that arm. And again, let's go to the computer and show you which muscle groups are working to control the angle of that arm as it goes through underneath your body. Now you should feel the bicep slightly invoke as you move into the catch position, but then it really holds fast. You really invoke it tightly to hold the forearm position flexed as you go through the pull. Also, the brachioradialis, this muscle here on the outside of the arm that you saw me indicate, really holds fast to hold that position. But it's also helping the hip flex, the wrist flexors here hold the hand in the right flexed position as the arm
goes all the way through the pull. That adjusts the hand position relative to the water as you go from front to back.
Now, importantly, what you're doing here is you're trying to maintain a high elbow. So you can see that muscle there working to keep that in control. The bicep is controlling, yeah, and the lats and the pecs are forcing the arm back. Yeah, so that's all working at once. If you employ the tricep, which a lot of you do, what happens is you employ the tricep and that instantly pulls the arm down. So you can see from the side, suddenly I've lost the water. So if you employ that tricep, you drop the elbow. If at all you ever feel the tricep working at the front end of the stroke, you're more than likely dropping the elbow and slipping the water.
So hugely important. If you feel the triceps in either arm invoking as you start the initial phases of the pull, you're actually probably going to be dropping that elbow. Drop the elbow means you're missing the catch and you're not making an effective pull. So you really want to avoid invoking the triceps as much as you can.
So we now know the progression of muscles as the stroke goes through. So as it comes in, you can feel the clavicular portion of the pectoral muscle there. And as you go through, you can feel the pec actually lower. Where you're actually invoking in the pec actually lower as you go through. You can also feel the lats working as they drive back. So those are hugely important muscle groups that you should feel as you begin the pull, right the way to the center of the pull, as you come through in front crawl. Now, if you're feeling any other muscle work, you're wasting energy. So you've got these muscles stabilizing and flexing the arm, and the pec and the lats working to bring the arm through. If you can feel your deltoid, trapezius, or anything else working, you're tense, you're not swimming relaxed, and you're wasting energy. Now, there does come a point underneath the body where you suddenly have to start extending your arm backwards. And notice, as I extend it back, the hand, so these stabilizers are working to make sure I'm pushing back against the water. Now that means that suddenly the tricep is working to extend. Remember, the bicep flexes, the tricep extends. So we've got bicep, 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 tricep coming through at the end. And you should really be able to feel that. You can feel it if you do it yourself. Yeah, so if you're feeling, again, anything else, something's going slightly wrong. So we're at the back of the stroke now. Back of the stroke. Our triceps just worked. We're going to release that and raise our arm. Now we should be raising our arm. You should be able to feel your deltoid really working. And it's mostly the deltoid that helps you move your arm forward. If you've got anything else working, it doesn't make sense. So the deltoid works, and also the rotator cuff muscles. Let's just go to the computer and see what those are.
On the recovery portion of the stroke, the deltoid is used primarily, but that's helped with the rotator cuff muscles here, so that stabilizes the motion. That's hugely important that only those muscles are used, because this portion of your stroke creates no forward momentum at all. So you want to use the minimum amount of energy possible. Small muscles, low amounts of energy, really no efforts to bring the arm forward. And notice these muscles in the forearm are not invoked at all. So if you feel those being invoked, you're actually wasting energy and probably making movement that you shouldn't be moving. It's very important during the recovery phase that you do not invoke the latissimus dorsi. Because if you do, likely as not, what's going to happen to your body whilst you do it is you're going to curve your spine one way or the other. And you see that a lot with swimmers, a curved spine, and that's when the lats just invoke. You can feel it. If you feel it in your body, when you tighten up the lat, you're going to bend your body. The other set of muscles that you really don't want to invoke whilst you're recovering are the trapezius, the traps. Because if you invoke those, what tends to happen, and you'll see this time and time again with swimmers, is the arm will swing round across the centre line of the body. And you don't really want to do that. So you don't want to invoke the traps, and you do not want to invoke the lats.
Now remember, I always say to my swimmers in the water, how did that feel? And I'm trying to get them to feel what's going right, but I'm also trying to get them to feel what's going wrong, because at this point in the recovery, if you feel your lats working, if you see what happens to my body, it's twisting. Yeah, it's twisting to one side. If you feel the trapezius working, these neck muscles across here, then what tends to happen is you're moving your arm so it crosses the center line. So if you can feel these working, or if you can feel your lats working, on that recovery, you're working the wrong muscles. Not only are you wasting energy, but you're likely to be moving your body in a way that it doesn't need to be moved for front crawl swimming. All right, so hopefully that's helped you understand what should be happening in your swimming stroke and what you should be feeling as you're doing it. If you're feeling particular things, put a comment below. I will always answer it when I get round to it. It might just be a couple of days, few days, if I'm doing something in particular, but I will get round to answering all your questions. Which reminds me, please, if you like this video, thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to hear more of it, subscribe and hit that notification bell. So as I've done 2 videos now on swimming, I think the next one might be on running, because Shelley is now starting to run again after her hip operation. And she has to really relearn running. So it's a very good opportunity for me to show you how that goes and how you might go back to basics yourself in this off period when there's no competition. So keep well, keep your family well, but above all, keep training.